I would like to invite the one, the only, veritable Mitchell Obi to the show tonight. Thank you very much for joining us, sir. Absolute pleasure to see you. You're looking as dapper as always. Do I say bonjour, or do I start with one of your veritable proverbs? When the lizard drops from the tree and he nods his head twice,
bonjour does it well.
He knows that he has done well.
let me say bonsoir.
Bonsoir.
Mes camarades, ça va?
Ça va bien, ça va bien. Thank you for coming through tonight. I have Favor Itoa with me and Wale Adugu, who you know quite well. But we're talking about the Niger Delta Sports Festival. So let me ask, what did you think of the festival in itself? Was it necessary? Was it a good investment by the Niger Delta Development Commission to mark its 25 years of existence? What did you think of the festival as a whole?
The timing was perfect. Indeed, if there was a feast of sports that should precede what we call the National Sports Festival, our own Olympics, perhaps we had a mini a feast of that in Uyo, and Uyo has become perhaps the pace setter. That's the home of the best brand of Nigerian sports, the Super Eagles. It's now the home to the first ever festival that perhaps has given us a new tone about what we have been saying for the past 30 years. We have insisted that if we want to get sports effectively developed in Nigeria, we should take it from the zones. But here we have the regional games, the first of its kind, and 9 states, the top states in the sports festival. That's a showpiece, and he has set the template for those who are managing our sports at the commission not to waste time. They have to really get on the blocks and start running. Indeed, if you talk about running and talking about swimming, talking about canoeing or paddling, and talking about fighting and wrestling, there was one state that came out, and it's a state where you have a Daniel. Indeed, he has set the judgment when it comes to Nigerian sports. And so the National Niger Delta Sports Festival was perhaps the big dream which became a reality after almost 3 years on the drawing board. And I'm happy that the NDDC came as the power behind it, although you also had other supporters. But the important part of it was the way everyone embraced it. And we have a template now for how games, regional games, should be organized. And the talents that came out of it, your good friend Godwin Enakena is still working night and day to compile the names of some of the talents he got to see at the festival. 9 or 8 days of intensive action, an opening ceremony to delight, and then a legacy for Uyo itself. And what more? Officials learning new dimensions to their events. And above all, Nigeria is the winner, because those coming for the sports festival in Ogun State have something they can compare with.
Absolutely. To our favor, you have a question for?
Yes, Mitchell, thank you very much for joining us this evening. We've always seen whereby, events like this are organized, National Sports Festival, talents are being discovered. Don't you think it's time for Nigeria to start looking at where we have comparative advantage? I mean, instead of having 30 sports, 35 sports, at the end of the day, when we go for international events, we can't boast of 5 or 6 sports that we are very good at. Don't you think it's time to narrow it down to where we have strength and then, push the talents from there?
Well, thank you very much. We are really far behind. It's not about being the right time, because the right time started far back in the 70s. We know our strength. Even when it comes to athletics, we know where we can excel. So it's not about time we look at the comparative benefits of the kind of sports we can excel in. We know those sports. Everybody, you can get up from your bed and say, okay, let's start with football. It's not even sports anymore. Some will say it's a religion. Let's look at table tennis. Let's look at wrestling. Before then, you had weightlifting. Now, powerlifting for the handicaps. Of course, basketball. These sports are just dead named. We cannot pretend. But what it takes to do that is a political will. You must have the political will as the leader in Nigerian sports to drive the emphasis. And that's what has been missing. Far back in 1990, We took away the secretariats of so many federations to states where they had their best reservoir, not only of talents, but the appeal. And that's what any leader what is sought should be thinking about. And that's why I am insisting that if they were looking for a template to how to zonalize our Nigerian sports, the Niger Delta Sports Festival has provided a fitting template. And of course, they just need to look at the modus operandi to get going. That is what we have done. We'll have done this about 30 years back. Far back in 1990, we zoned Nigerian sports into 6 zones. Got them to have their centers of operation, and they were working just 1 year. And we are going back to it. It's like 1990 to 2025. How many years ago?
Quite a stretch.
I mean, on your last point, it reminded me of the last time we had a conversation. By the way, good evening, Master. And I remember when Shehu Diko was appointed as Sports Commission Chairman, you were very much emphatical on the fact that we need to zonalize Nigerian sports. That way, sports can get into every nook and corner of Nigeria. And maybe the building blocks have been set, but Master, 2 things. The first one is a bother, because I wasn't comfortable when I saw Favor Ashe, an elite athlete, competing at the Niger Delta Sports Festival. I mean, this is a congregation of unknown quantities, coming together to strut their stuff, to be able to show that region that we are fit enough to be able to represent our state and even the region at the national level. And suddenly, an elite athlete from the United States of America comes through. An Olympian, so to say, blazes the trail. I wasn't comfortable with that. I have to really tell you about
that. Question, and,
here's my question.
Well, thank you.
The Master, here's my question, quickly. Here's my question. That's just an observation. My question is, I mean, it feels that the NDSF is an afterthought. Basically, the Niger Delta Commission is celebrating its 25th anniversary, and it feels it's just fitting that we do something, something large to commemorate it. Where do you think this sports festival fits into the Nigerian sports calendar going forward? Or you think this is just a one-off?
From the leadership of the Niger Delta Development Commission, I don't think it's a one-off. The parting shot of the chairman said, "See you next year." And before then, the MOC, that's the main organizing committee chairman, who happens to be the executive director of the commission, as well as the chairman of the festival, had said they were going to make a recommendation for this festival to become either an annual or a biannual games. In short, fittingly should be called the Niger Delta Games, because that's what it's supposed to be. Something that is intentionally committed towards development. And I think when you look at the area of sports, that's one specific area which most of our development commission have not even looked at. And I think it's good that they have they've just gotten into a gear. And I think there's no turning back. Don't forget, the idea of this festival has been on the drawing board for more than 2 years or 3 years, according to the brain behind the games, talking about Dunamis Icon. They've been pushing it so hard. And I think the anniversary of the NDDC coincided with the moment the board and, of course, the management decided the sports festival was the next area of endeavor for the commission. And that means trying to see how they can use sports as a veritable tool of engagement with the youths of the Niger Delta, how they can use sports to build a certain level of harmony among the states, how they could use sports to even fast-track development. Come to think of it, Uyo now can boast of a swimming pool that was laid fallow for quite a while. Is now a place where you can host an international swimming event. Those are the kind of legacies. I went through some of the venues, and it tells me that this is what we need to be doing on an annual basis. Let it become the precursor even to this sports festival, like a challenger series.
I totally agree, sir.
We have the Niger Delta Sports Festival. We have the the Southwest Games. We have the Northeast Games. Before the sports festival already, we have mini champions
all across the zone. I still need to speak to what Wale said, sir.
An athlete who came from the Olympic fold.
Exactly.
Let me say that she was within the age bracket. I think it was a matter of age, not a matter of exposure of experience.
No. I disagree. I thought the idea behind this festival itself was to unearth new, raw, unseen talents that could be thrust onto the national limelight, not importing athletes from across the world, across the Atlantic to come and compete. I thought that, I for one, thought that wasn't necessary. But I also need to ask you this question. There are those who are saying that, there was a rumored 7 billion naira budget for this festival. I don't know how true that is, but if that is true, sir, how would you want to respond to those who are saying that money could have been better spent elsewhere?
Are you asking a journalist the financials? you are in the business. You are in the business of looking at the dynamics of the event, whether it went well or whether it's meant. Let me tell you something. Tell you something, Tunde. The initial idea was to throw open the festival for the best of the best. That was the initial idea. And then some said, no, that may conflict and may not sync with even the national goal of the sports festival. So let's look at how we can go down to the grassroots and expose talents who have shown promise. And that's where the age bracket thing came. And they said, look, if you are under 25 and above, I think 16 or 18, then you can get into the festival. But then the next time, I think lessons have been learned. The learnings of this festival are very key. Just like you pointed out, you allow the home brewed athletes to really effectively participate and let them rise to the fore. Then they can compete among the best. So we should have another competition where the best of these games come together to really give us what we need. That should be the flow.
Okay, but I still would love you to answer that question. That a lot of people are saying that, look, if it was indeed a reported 7 billion naira budget, there are those who are arguing that money could have been better spent.
I can't talk about the budget, but if you bring 3,000 athletes for 10 days and you are going to keep them, you are going to give them allowances. You're going to
feed
accommodate them. I'm not talking about even the officials. I'm talking specifically about athletes. 3,000 athletes from 9 states. You are going to transport them to and fro, and within even Uyo, where the venues are scattered. Do the logistics yourself. How much money do you need?
Not enough.
It's not even enough. 7 billion may not be enough in these times. And then you look at the facilities, getting the facilities ready. Like the swimming pool itself, it was taken from an abandoned state and brought to life. Then conversion of certain venues to fit specific sports. You know what all that means. And then, of course, the promotion of the games. You know, you guys, even in your news central, you know how much you charge for just talking this night.
Oh, wow. Well, we've been speaking with the one, the only, the legendary Mitchell Obi. Thank you so much for coming through tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. And I want to extend an invitation to you, an open invitation to you, that you are always welcome to join our show anytime we call upon you to dip into your vast reservoir of sporting experience. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, my appreciation to you guys, and you guys have taken the prime time. I love the timing. It helps us to tell Nigerians that sports can become the front page of our concern.
Very true.
Not the news of stories that don't lift us at any point in time. And Wale was talking about the Champions League. There is the African Champions League, the CAF Champions League.
True.
That is the one that is more exciting than the UEFA Champions League.
Oh, yeah,
the CAF Champions League.
Semi-final.
You have two African countries in the semi-finals. 2 African countries in the semi-finals. It happened in 2020. 2025, you have South Africa and you have Egypt. 2 countries producing 4 teams in the semi-finals. And the total money that will get to those countries, you can imagine what it is. That's why we say we should develop our own, like the Niger Delta Sports Festival has done. They've set the template. Let the Sports Commission take it from there. And let's even increase the budget from rumored 7 billion, borrowing your figure, to 10 billion.
No problem, sir. Thank you so much for coming through tonight. Always a pleasure to see Mitchell B. Gentlemen, that was a very, very entertaining discussion. I mean, he's always a jolly good fellow, always has nothing but knowledge, and he's always very achievable.